Aspire to a clean career, leaving no shame for descendants. Hello everyone. Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Case Stories, Cases Judged by Bao Gong. Today, I'm going to tell you two short stories. The first story is titled, The Monk's Frown. When Bao Gong served as a county magistrate, he had a peculiar dream one night. He dreamed of 4 monks emerging from the city god temple. 3 of them wore smiles on their faces, but the 4th looked troubled, his brow furrowed with unease. Upon waking, Bao Gong was puzzled by the dream and couldn't make sense of it. The following day happened to be the 15th of the month. As per custom, Bao Gong visited the city god temple to offer incense. As he stepped through the temple gates, he was startled to see 4 monks standing under the left gallery, exactly as he had dreamed. The scene from his dream replayed vividly in his mind. Without revealing his thoughts, Bao Gong approached the 4 monks and studied them closely. 3 were robust and sturdy, but the 4th was delicate, with smooth skin that didn't quite resemble that of a man. Suspicion crept into his mind, and he asked, "Why didn't you come out to greet me?" One of the monks folded his hands in respect and replied, "Your Excellency, according to temple custom, only resident monks are permitted to greet you. We are merely wandering monks who stayed here last night and plan to depart today. That is why we did not come out to greet you. We beg your forgiveness." Bao Gong nodded slightly and continued, "What are your names?" The monk replied, "My Dharma name is Zhenshou. These 3 are my disciples, named Ru Zhen, Ru Hai, and Ru Ku." Bao Gong nodded again, then tested them further. "Since you are monks, I assume you are familiar with chanting scriptures?" Zhenshou answered cautiously, "Your Excellency, I have some modest knowledge of Buddhist texts." Bao Gong smiled faintly and said, "Today is the 15th. Back home, I used to invite monks to chant scriptures and pray for blessings. Since we've met here, why not come with me to the yamen to chant scriptures for a day and pray for peace and righteousness?" The 4 monks dared not refuse and followed Bao Gong back to the yamen. Bao Gong had his attendants prepare incense, flowers, and candles. Once everything was ready, he ordered 4 basins of clean water to be brought in and asked the monks to bathe before chanting. 3 of the monks readily removed their robes and began washing themselves without hesitation. However, Ru Ku looked visibly uncomfortable and declined, saying, "I have taken a vow and cannot bathe casually. I beg your Excellency's understanding." Bao Gong's suspicions deepened, though he remained calm. He handed Ru Ku a set of new clothes and said, "Buddhism emphasizes cleanliness and purity. This vow you speak of seems more like a rule you've made for yourself. Even if such a vow exists, it must be set aside in this situation." With that, he ordered the constables to remove Ru Ku's robes. As the clothing fell away, her true identity was revealed. She was a woman. Bao Gong's expression darkened, and he immediately ordered the 4 individuals to be bound. Turning to Ru Ku, he demanded, I've suspected all along that you weren't a man, which is why I tested you with the bath. And now, I've caught you in the act. You shameless woman, did you intend to escape with these 3 monks? Confess the truth at once, or you will not be spared. The woman fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face, and said, I am the wife of Chu Shou, from Gu village in Yichuan County. My household consisted of me, my husband, and my 70-year-old mother-in-law. On the night of the 14th of July last year, 3 monks came to our home seeking shelter. My husband initially planned to refuse them, saying that our home was in a remote area and lacked sufficient bedding to host them. But the monks insisted, saying that it was too late to go elsewhere, and as wandering monks, they were accustomed to enduring the elements. They claimed they needed only a room to spend the night and would leave in the morning. Their persistence moved my husband, who pitied their hard lives as monks. He prepared a vegetarian meal for them and arranged a room with bedding for their rest. But who could have guessed that in the dead of night, these 3 bald demons would attack us? They drew daggers and murdered my husband. I tried to escape with my mother-in-law, but they captured us. My poor mother-in-law was also killed by their blades. The next morning, they set fire to our home, forcibly shaved my head, and dressed me in monk's robes and shoes, making me travel with them. Along the way, they drugged me to render me mute, ensuring I couldn't call for help. If I slowed down even slightly, they would beat me mercilessly. I longed for revenge for my husband and mother-in-law and thought of killing them myself, but I am just a weak woman and didn't dare act. Yesterday was the 14th of July again, the anniversary of my husband and mother-in-law's deaths. While those 3 brutes drank and reveled, I could only pray to the city god, begging for someone to bring justice for my loved ones. When you summoned them to the yamen this morning to chant scriptures, I thought you truly sought their services and didn't dare reveal my plight. Little did I know that you had already seen through my disguise and devised a way to uncover the truth. If I had known of your suspicions, would have confessed my grievances immediately, even at the cost of my life. The city god has shown mercy, allowing me to meet you today and tell my story. I plead with you, Your Excellency, to avenge my husband and mother-in-law. Now that the truth is known, even if I am sentenced to death, I will die without regret, knowing I can reunite with them in the afterlife. Bao Gong listened, recalling the strange dream he had the previous night. He sighed deeply and said, You have endured unimaginable suffering over this past year. Without last night's dream, I might not have encountered you today. Since the city god has intervened, it is my duty to see justice done. These 3 wicked monks, who committed murder and abducted another man's wife, will be sentenced to death according to the law. As for you, you bear no guilt. I will draft the necessary documents to allow you to return home and remarry if you so choose. The second story is titled Greenish Droppings. In Tongan County, there lived a wealthy man named Gong. Despite his considerable fortune, he was notoriously stingy. One day, it happened to be the birthday of his father-in-law, elderly Gong prepared a modest gift for the occasion and instructed his servant, Chang Tsai, to deliver it. Before sending him off, he repeatedly emphasized, "Deliver the gifts to them, but remember this, let them keep everything else, but that goose is just for show. Don't leave it with them, no matter what." Chang Tsai nodded obediently and set off for the Li family home with the gifts. When Chang Tsai arrived, Elder Li was delighted, even though the gifts were modest. Smiling warmly, he asked, "Why didn't your master come to drink with us today?" Chang Tsai replied with an excuse. "My master is busy with other affairs and couldn't make it in person." Elder Li then instructed his kitchen staff to collect the gifts. Seeing how simple the offerings were, the cook selected only a few slightly better items to keep, including the goose. Chang Tsai hesitated but didn't dare ask Elder Li to return the goose. Fearing he might be scolded upon returning home, he drowned his anxiety in a few cups of wine before heading back with an empty basket. About a mile outside the city, Chang Tsai spotted a flock of white geese wandering in a nearby field. Looking around and seeing no one in sight, he sneaked into the field and captured the largest goose he could find. To prevent it from flying away, he dunked it into a nearby fish pond to wet its feathers before placing it in his basket. To his surprise, the goose herder, Zhao Lu, happened to be on his way home and saw Chang Tsai. At that moment, Chang Tsai's basket did not contain a goose. When Zhao Lu later returned to the field, he witnessed the entire scene of Chang Tsai stealing the goose. Zhao Lu shouted and chased after him, but Chang Tsai ignored him and carried on his way. Along the road, Zhao Lu encountered his master, who was returning from the county. He quickly called out, "Master, the man carrying the basket ahead just stole one of our geese. Let's go stop him." Hearing this, the master rushed forward and grabbed hold of Chang Tsai. Chang Tsai set down his basket and protested loudly. "What are you doing? You've got the wrong person. Why are you stopping me for no reason?" The goose's owner shouted back, "You stole my goose, and now you dare deny it?" The three of them soon got into a scuffle, drawing the attention of passers-by, who gathered around to watch the commotion. A passerby stepped forward and suggested, "Both of you claim the goose as your own. Why not return it to the flock? If the goose is accepted without resistance, it belongs to the flock. If it's rejected, then it clearly doesn't belong." Chang Tsai agreed, saying, "That sounds reasonable. Let's try it." He then released the goose into the flock. However, the goose, still soaking wet, looked entirely different from the others. This difference caused the other geese to chase and peck at it aggressively, ultimately rejecting it. The onlookers, seeing this, began to criticize Zhao Lu and his master. "It seems the goose really belongs to Chang Tsai. Zhao Lu and his master are making baseless accusations. Return the goose at once." The goose's owner, swayed by the crowd's remarks, started to doubt Zhao Lu and harshly scolded him. Zhao Lu, feeling wronged, insisted on getting to the bottom of the matter. "When I first saw Chang Tsai," Zhao Lu argued, "there was no goose in his basket. I saw him catch this goose in the field myself. I don't understand why it was rejected by the other geese." Frustrated, Zhao Lu continued to demand clarity, and before long, he and Chang Tsai were brawling again. Just then, Bao Gong passed by and saw the two men fighting. Approaching them, he asked what had happened. After listening to both sides of the story, Bao Gong reflected. If the goose belongs to the flock, why did the other geese reject it? But if it belongs to Chang Tsai, why would Zhao Lu go to such lengths over a single goose? Clearly, this matter requires further investigation. With that, he said to the two. For now, this dispute is postponed. Return to your homes today. I will take the goose to the county office and resolve this tomorrow. The following day, the constables escorted Zhao Lu and Chang Tsai to the county office. Bao Gong declared, "This goose belongs to Zhao Lu." Chang Tsai was astonished and protested. "Your Honor, yesterday everyone agreed the goose was mine. Why have you decided otherwise today?" Bao Gong explained. "Chang Tsai, you live in the city, where your geese are fed primarily on grains. Zhao Lu lives in the countryside, where geese graze freely and eat mostly grass. A goose that feeds on grains produces yellowish droppings, whereas one that eats grass and seeds produces droppings that are greenish. After bringing the goose to the county office yesterday, I closely observed its droppings. They were entirely green. This proves the goose came from the fields and therefore belongs to Zhao Lu." Still unwilling to accept the decision, Chang Tsai argued, "If you say the goose is his, why did the other geese reject it yesterday?" Bao Gong sternly replied, "You insolent servant! You wet the goose's feathers, making it appear different from the others. Naturally, the flock chased and pecked at it." He then returned the goose to Zhao Lu and ordered the constables to give Chang Tsai 20 lashes before driving him out of the office. News of Bao Gong's ruling quickly spread throughout the county, and the people marveled at his wisdom and ability to deliver justice. Alright. Today's case stories, The Monk's Frown and Greenish Droppings, conclude here. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment and share it with others. See you next time.